Hello folks and welcome to our games today. It's basically the Offaly celebration day. I was worried that you wouldn't show up on the show today after the Leinster under-20 title win last night and you just have disappeared up your own arse with pride.
No, I was always going to be here. I tell you what else is here. Can you hear that? We have been and over. Stop, Shayla. Absolutely dynamite. Yeah, it was brilliant. We're started with it now for a good while. So last night was just brilliant. It was on the terrace and it was just brilliant to be stuck in the middle of it. Yeah, something special, and there's something special brewing as well, which is great. Like, it's not, we'd hang our hat on a good group. We would absolutely hang our hat on a good group, and this is an outstanding group. And you can just get behind them. Skill wise, they're a brilliant team, but effort wise, they just, like, everything was against them last night. They were down to 14 men. They were under pressure, and they just pulled through. And like leave it to Screeney, like the size of him, Shane, and just what he can do. He scored a point. He must have been 9 yards out from the end line, I'd say, off the left. He's like, yeah, like someone asked me last night on Twitter, I think it was Detox actually, he said, like, what player would you compare him to? Like, to me, I've been saying it all along, he's a Joe Dean style, impish style player. He's always able to create a yard, and the thing I like most about him is his work rate without the ball. He's actually faster without. Do you remember that flick he got in the centre back? Just like, I know it didn't go over, but it was a real it just sucked a bit of momentum out of Wexford, and it had to get really down and dirty, and Offaly had to get really down and dirty last night, and they were able to do it and just pass the test with flying colours last night. Yeah,
it was brilliant stuff. Like Cormac Egan, he's now got Leinster under-20 titles in both codes.
Yeah,
obviously football was 2 years ago.
There's not too many. Like, think about how many have done that. Like, even outside of Offaly, I think Ollie Minnock has done it in Offaly in the late 70s. But like, outside of Offaly, like, would it be a Cork man maybe that might have done it? Would Aidan Walsh maybe have done it?
Barry Cullinan won All Irelands in both codes.
That's right. Yeah. But sure, they had to play no games to get there, Shane, on the hurling, sure. Semi-final, final. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, they're gone into Leinster now and they can't get past the quarter-final.
Well, there you go.
I'm only having a veil.
They were missing a few players though because of the senior rule, weren't they?
They were missing one player. In fairness,
Liam Collins, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the comments are flying in here. Do you not have brains freeze from all the icebergers? So anyone who doesn't know, before when Bernie was celebrating the big win, doesn't drink, so he had a full box of icebergers.
No, that was actually drowning my sorrows. That was drowning my sorrows,
okay.
And I felt it. I felt as hungover as any member of the squad had said the next day after him.
Yeah, congrats, Mick. Brilliant scenes. Crowd was brilliant throughout, says Pal. Okay, we're back, says A. Sully, 180. Well, there's no Burr players starting now, so I don't know how back you are in Burr. I don't really mess.
We had a starter the whole way through, but he pulled up with the hammer against Dublin. So hopefully he'll be back for the final. Not sure. There's different talk about when the final could be. So just great to be there. And sure, we're already massive underdogs going in against Cork, but these boys won't fear anyone. I can tell you that.
Yeah, Joe Butler says, great win by Offaly last night. A lot of skill displayed with a typical never say die Offaly attitude. Brilliant to see Offaly do so well, especially with 14 men for nearly all the second half. What was the buzz like in there?
I goose pimples here even talking about it. Like, I swear to God, the amount of people, you know, it's the same when Tipperary win or anything like that. The amount of people you see on the pitch that you just haven't seen in forever. And you don't even need to say anything. Do you know what I mean? Someone got a snap of me last night. I think it was hugging Colin Cummins, who's involved in the Offaly County Board, and Dygan is there as well. And there's all just, you know, you just meet people, and there's a great outpouring of emotion that only the GA can kind of bring. And it's funny, Adam Screeney's interview after, he referenced it, and I kind of said it to you a few times since. Maybe the best thing in the world that ever happened to this group was not winning that minor All-Ireland. Maybe, he said, even, like, it took them a few months to get over it, but it was, you know, they realised that they had to get back working hard again or whatever. And this is I probably, like, at the start of the campaign, you wouldn't have been expecting Leinster to come out of this. And the fact that you're straight through to a final as well, like, Jesus, there's some carrot there to be in the All-Ireland final. I don't think we've played Cork in any code in a, you know, All-Ireland stages game since 2000 All-Ireland semi-final. Played them in qualifiers and stuff like that, maybe senior level. But like 23 years later, and they've obviously got a brilliant side and they beat Clare the other night. But yeah, it's just brilliant to have it to look forward to.
How are the rest of us supposed to compete with you now?
Jesus, most counties have teams like this coming up the whole time. I think the best thing about it is that there's only 6 of the minors from last year. So that's another 9 players. You know what I mean? We're not just hanging our hat on one team. It's probably 3 years of teams, if you get me. But it was brilliant because we were under the cosh at different stages of the second half, and Keane burned for Wexford. Jeez, he's some game. Like, I was looking at it, and you know when you just see a lad, he's literally in the zone. I was looking at him hitting the freeze, and he wouldn't have the ball shook, and he'd have the fist pump like that. He knew he was on his game. And he was very dangerous. Our half back line that would usually be on top now, he was causing all sorts of trouble there. But like the goal was gas because Conor McGeegan, who you mentioned there, probably not the most skillful hurler in the world, but you don't need 6 forwards that can all have silken touches. You need 2 or 3 guys that will get stuck in. Like how he turned over a couple of balls there, he'd no right to turn over. And
the goal he assisted for Screeney, I really thought he should have gone the other way. I can't remember. Yeah, but he ended up doing he could have done a switch hand pass, which should go straight to Screeney's hand. He did everything wrong as far as I was concerned, but got the ball there. And even Screeney having to take the touch and run to a more narrow angle. It was like, this is the exact wrong way you should try and execute this, but you're like, Screeney's so good. And you know what? I watched the first few minutes there, and I thought before it was delayed, I watched the first half hour, see how that's going, then watch the Champions League semi-final, City against Real. I couldn't turn off the under-20 match. So what a compliment to pay underage hurling.
Just on the goal, I was looking, I think it was Conor Doyle going through the far side, who had a brilliant game.
He was excellent.
Yeah, and you're just looking and thinking, like, if the pass goes to him, like, he just walks the ball into the net. But, and this is no disrespect to Conor Doyle, but if you have Adam Screeney beside you, you just trust them. Even if it's lower percentage, you probably just trust them. And it was just a simple little pass off, and it was just a lovely finish. And as I said, the 2 points from under the terrace in the first half, like, you're just thinking, this lad was out with concussion for the semi-final a week previous, and Breckin Kavanagh, who was out and under pressure coming into this game, he had an unbelievable second half.
Loves to draw a foul, doesn't he? Loves to draw a foul.
He flicked the ball on. Like, it was real smart, because that's beyond his years almost. We were down a man. We needed little bits of cuteness like that. And not being smart with the two of them. Like, they're not exactly the biggest looking fellas on the pitch. They're 2 of the smaller. I'd hazard a guess and say they're the 2 smallest lads on the pitch, and they probably had greatest influence, along with probably Dan Burke, Dan Ravenhill as well. It was just savage display.
Yeah, I go through some of the comments. Adrian McGrath says, great result for Offaly, beautiful skill and composure. Absolutely, especially 14 men the last few minutes. You're thinking, surely they get caught. Leon Keegan, we've been starving the last 23 years. Last night we got fed, Honda faithful. A Sully 180 biting back. 3 Burr boys on the panel, and the great Johnny Pilkington as selector. Takes more than 15 to be successful. I was only joking. ML89, Jack Glynn and Conor Flaherty have Connacht and Leinster under 20 titles in hurling and football. Don't think that one will be beaten. Yeah, that's quite one. Notable size advantage for Wexford, I thought, from watching on TV. So the skill level and bravery of the Offaly team. Yeah, that is a thing. Like, is it just pure coincidence that this Offaly team is so slight, or is it just because some of them are quite young?
Probably a bit of both, I'd say. Like, they've all
10 are underage next year, aren't they?
10 of the 9 starters, but a heap of lads on the squad as well. We wouldn't be losing that many. But as Screeney said in his interview after, like, you can't wait for next year. You know, if there's an opportunity there, if the door is open, you just power through it as quick as you can. I thought even Leo O'Connor's interview after, like, just on how they he just said, and I think everyone in the county is only probably starting to realise this now. Like, this is, when you just get a sense that a group is a bit different, and you just have full faith in them. And as someone said to me yesterday before the match, the one thing you know about these lads is they'll turn up. And they did turn up, and they always seem to turn up. And whatever I said to you, whatever about the skill, whatever about the silky touches and all that, they just work like dogs, and you cannot buy that.
They're a team. They're impossible not to like. And like, that Wexford team was very good. Martin Furlong says, hard luck to the Wexford lads last night. 2 Leinster final defeats in a row at under 20 is tough to take. However, there's plenty of talent coming through, as shown last night. Richard Hogan says, it's lucky you don't drink, Mick. You would have been missing today. And a couple of people commented on the old haircut there. Championship fade for Stapleton. Fresh fade for the weekend, Shane. Look, it had to happen eventually. It had to go with the big old woolly head like the lad has there.
Nisha Waldron laid the gauntlet down to me. He said, if Offaly win the All-Ireland, I have to get the mullet. And I nearly would, to be honest with you. It'd be worth it.
I actually think it would work for you.
Jesus. I don't know. We'll see. Anything could happen if Offaly win the All-Ireland.
Hughie Kennedy, the bones of the Cork under-20 team are under-20 next year. It's the quality minor team that beat everyone by double digits in 2021 to claim the minor All-Ireland. Great to see them against Offaly in the final, up the Rebels. geez, that Cork team was pretty good the other night. And you know what? So were Clare. And I thought Clare were very hard done by late in the game. I can't remember which player it was, but he was moving with the ball. He was absolutely fouled. It was given as a free to Cork. They knocked it over the bar. And when Cork were chasing, was it a 4 or 5 point deficit late on? It was important because if it was a free the other way and it goes over, maybe that was enough to see Clare over the line. But I'm not trying to take away from Cork because, you know, that goal from Michael Mullins, the one where he soloed through, that was, I mean, like, their class team, and Ben Cunningham obviously as well. His performance at Tour de Force.
Shane, the flick near the end when Cork really needed a score, and he just put on the afterburners. I can't think of his name. He passed it off to the midfielder, and it was some brilliant scores. And that you would have to feel very sorry for Clare, because you thought in the third quarter when they kicked on, you think, geez, they're after making the game-winning burst here, maybe, but probably just weren't able to see it out. And maybe the odd decision maybe going against them as well. But Cork are a serious side.
Yeah. Go through a couple of the comments there.
Yeah, Richard Hogan just says serious flick from Cormac Egan for the screeny goal, and there was a couple of plays he made in really, really tight circumstances. Just really, really cute. He's only come back in playing hurling maybe the last 6 weeks. He was playing with the footballers as well, and I don't know, did he hurl with Tullamore last year?
He wouldn't hurl with UCD as a fresher. I know that.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did play with Tullamore. Do you know what's great as well to see? It's just to see him back fit. Because, you know, since that the under-20 All-Ireland final win 2 years ago, like he probably hasn't played 20 games, I'd say, since then. Do you know what I mean? So good to see him back fit. And it's funny now, while football would probably be his preferred option, you know, if you see a crew that are coming through, and, you know, a rising tide lifts all boats, who knows what side he'll go. He definitely won't be able to play both, but it'd be very, very interesting to see what direction he goes.
There must be hurleys everywhere when you walk around Offaly now, because like
no hurleys, but there's plenty of hurls.
But like you go to an underage match for Offaly now and it's sold out. It's ridiculous. It's stupid.
Yeah, now
in a good way.
I don't know why there was a cap put on Dr. Cullen Park last night, and I'm not sure why, to be honest with you. And it probably should have been somewhere else. And I think there was mitigating circumstance. I think there was potentially an issue with TG Carter not being able to broadcast the game earlier. If it had been in Nolan Park, it would have had to be earlier in case it went extra time, so there'd be adequate light. And then, of course, the fact that it was delayed by 15 minutes, every live broadcaster's nightmare, filling 15 minutes on air. They can't all fill it like me and you talk around for 15 minutes. But yeah, it was mad. Like my mother and sister rang me. I was on the road. I flew in from Dublin, never met a car the whole way. They were in, where were they? They were in Mount Rat at like 5:30, and they had to abandon the car at 7:20 in Carlow, just like blatant abandonment. And they said there was cars just abandoned everywhere. Everyone just abandoned ship. It was one of those mad scenes. Yeah, but they have to know by now that if Offaly are in a final from last year, they're going to travel in numbers. Like Nolan Park was a sellout last year. They must have been the guts of 16,000 in Portage for the Leinster final. So I don't know why that was capped at the capacity it was, and I just hope too many people weren't denied the opportunity to go there. But I tell you what, for the final, which I'd imagine will be in Thurles, I'd say we'll just about Thurles and just about hold us, I'd say.
Yeah, like if that was a sellout for under 20s, like it's just crazy, really, when you think about it. Imagine all those young lads, 17, like Screeny's 17, some of those other lads are 18 and 19, and they're playing in front of, who knows, 30, 40, 45.
Well, as Will O'Cannon said it, and he's right. Like, a load of these guys have played at underage, have played in front of sellout crowds that the senior team wouldn't have got a smell at it. But that isn't it great for those lads when they come through to senior, that imagine like the little swagger that they potentially could bring to the dressing room that is just infectious and rubs off on everybody else. You've seen it in setups where young lads come in, maybe from a successful minor or under 21 team, and they just they make nearly you stick your chest out a bit as well. So hopefully that'll have a bit of a knock-on effect for the Offaly senior team in the years to come.
So can we lock in the mullet? If Offaly win the All-Ireland, you will shave in a mullet, which means skin fade at the side, long at the back, the Mississippi mud flap.
Go on, lock it in. So
okay, you all saw it, folks. You all saw it. ML89 under 20 Offaly football win was more going on a journey. A team who got a mad amount of momentum. Signs on that not too many have made an impact at senior. This Offaly hurling group have a bit more about them. What you'd be able to comment on that better?
Yeah, I suppose a load of those lads have been hit with injuries, the likes of John Furlong, Morgan Tynan, and that they will still make a big mark at senior level. But this hurling group has probably been well flagged since Tony Forrest and and there's an awful lot, there's a hell of a lot more in them as well. They'll be well minded, but this is a crop that we could get a hell of a lot out of at senior level.
Yeah, get your comments in and let us know who you think is going to win the All-Ireland final now. Is it going to be Offaly? Is it going to be Clare? And why? We're going to hopefully Darach Horan will be knocking on and to chat with us a little bit about Cork against Clare in a few moments.
How are you getting on?
You're better dressed than the two of us, in fairness, yeah.
You're rocking the Offaly jersey as well you should today.
Yeah, just Clare were a small bit hard done by there on Monday against Cork. It was a brilliant game though.
Yeah, it was a great game. Some really good play on both sides, and I thought Clare did very well. There wasn't a whole pile in it, but I thought Cork, were deserving winners as well. They had some excellent performances. I thought Ben Cunningham particularly, I couldn't understand how he's not playing this weekend or hasn't played yet in the senior championship. Yeah, because he's someone who looks very good.
Yeah. Just before I let you go, who do you think is going to win that All-Ireland under-20 final between Cork and Offaly? And then also I'll ask you about Clare against Cork this weekend.
Well, I suppose the under-20 final, it'll be interesting. I suppose just looking at Cork first, right? The first thing I'll say about Cork is I haven't seen a team in a long time with as much pace. They're absolutely electric all over the field. So I think that's something that Offaly will have to deal with. But having said that, Offaly have some very good forwards. I think like Screeney, obviously everyone knows about Screeney. He was a great minor, and he was excellent again last night. But I think Ravenhill is an absolutely fantastic prospect. I think he's the really makers of a really, really good player. If Offaly can have the legs to stay with Cork at the back, I think, and force the Cork defenders to defend. I think a lot of the time, maybe in the first half especially, Clare withdrew and allowed Cork to kind of come out with the ball, cornerbacks coming out with the ball, taking the return and up the field. And it was only really when they had to do with the defending that you saw that there may be deficiencies there. So if Offaly can force them to defend and have the legs to stay with them, I give them a good chance. But I'd say at this stage, slight favourites to Cork. As for the match in Ennis, very difficult to win in Ennis. Very difficult. I think a lot will depend on if Cork are to win that. You need a kind of a day where the ball is flying around the place, loose and open. If you have scorching conditions, I'm not sure what the weather forecast is like at the weekend, but if that ball is flying around the place and it is open, Cork are very dangerous. They have a lot of pace all over the field, but I just have to give the nod to Clare based on home advantage. Unbeaten there for a while. And they are on a bit of a roll. They've won the minor. They were very unlucky to lose the under-21 final with about 10 or 12 minutes to go. It looked like they were winners. So there is a big amount of confidence in Clare, and I think they want to get back to a Munster final, and they know that they have to win on Sunday if they're to do that. So maybe Clare tentatively and Cork tentatively in the under-20s. I don't think there'll be a whole lot in either of the games, and wouldn't be surprised if they went the other way.
Good man, Mark. Write us off. We're only one to tight.
I'm not writing you off at all. I'm giving you a great chance. And the other thing is, for those of us who are around long enough, young Screeney there taking the freeze. My father was saying to me last night. He was very like Johnny Flaherty. To me, his style is the very same as Mark Corrigan in the 1980s.
Oh yeah,
almost a carbon copy.
Very much. Mark scored 3-7 in Leinster final one year. I can't remember the year now exactly, but they're very similar. Probably a bit more like Mark Corrigan, I'd say. Yeah, there's a blast from the past now. Mark was a selector at Offaly under Ollie Baker's time in 2012, and I remember we were on the ball wall, and like he must have had 20 or 30 years on me, and he still puts you to shame. Like if you have the wrists, you have the wrists.
Yeah. He was a great player, and Paddy, his brother, wasn't bad either. They were decent players, Yeah.